Welcome to Private Club Radio, the industry's first and only program dedicated to education, news, events, trends and announcements. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
We're talking social media this week on Private Club Radio. My guest is Shanna Bright, founder of Private Clubs Online, a social media expert. Social media is a sticky subject so often when it comes to private clubs. Club staff and board members often ask questions like, can private clubs truly remain private if they're out there in the open for the world to see? Or what type of content should I be putting out there on social media? Or what social network should I be paying attention to? If you have any of those type of questions, we're going to have the answers for you on today's episode. Now, before we bring Shanna on, just a few announcements for you. If you haven't heard, we've now made this show a little bit more democratic, and you can vote for the topic or subject that you'd like to hear covered on this show. Now, it might not happen right away. We do have some shows that are already planned, but if there's a subject that you want to hear that affects your club, that will help you in your career, we want to put it on this show. You can simply go to privateclubradio.com/vote. And it's about a 5-second process because there's only 2 questions. There's a list of topics where you can choose which topic you want to hear, or you can write in your own. And the second question being what type of club you're most interested, whether that's a golf club, a tennis club, a racket club, a yacht club, a city club, or business club. You don't have to enter any personal information. It's just those 2 simple questions. And once we tally up the results, I will find the right expert to answer those questions. So again, it's really simple. If you want to participate, just go to privateclubradio.com/vote. Now, the second thing I want to mention is the Florida Club Summit that's happening July 31st through August the 3rd here in Florida. It's happening in Palm Beach at the Breakers. It's a joint meeting of the Florida Club Managers Association, the Club Spa and Fitness Association, and the USPTA. There's a fantastic lineup of speakers headlined by none other than Gary Player. He's going to be speaking at the conference. I'll also be speaking at the conference. I'm going to be covering marketing to millennials. It's going to be a pretty fabulous event. If you'd like to learn more or register for the event, just visit floridaclubsummit.com.
Are you searching for members? Are you looking to drive revenue to every department of your club? With Course Driver, you can. Course Driver is a custom smartphone application designed specifically for your club. Visit CourseDriver.com to schedule your demo today.
Shanna Bright is the founder of Bright Life Media and Private Clubs Online, focusing on helping clubs learn how to build a strategic member communication plan to boost revenue, enrich your club culture, and retain members. Shanna began her career in private clubs as the member relations director at the City Club Los Angeles. Shanna regularly provides strategic communication consultation to private clubs and hosts webinars and has spoken at conferences like the CMAA, PCMA, and ACCP. In May of 2015, Shanna launched Private Clubs Online to serve you, private club professionals who truly want to connect, engage, and communicate with your members. Shanna, welcome to Private Club Radio.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Gabe.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. So I want to talk social media strategy with you today. The first question I have for you right out of the gate is, why do private clubs need to include social media as part of their strategic communication plan?
That's a great question. And it's really I always start with the why when I'm consulting with clubs, when I'm doing my webinars, doing the presentations. Why is a fantastic question to be asking ourselves. Why are we doing social media? Why are we doing our newsletters? Why are we doing our emails? And really what we're trying to do is connect with our members. Our member communication plan needs to include a mix of media. Certainly we can still continue to print those newsletters and put them online and have a members-only portal on our website where we're posting blog entries and things like that. Of course, our email communication is, the main form of communication I think that we maintain with our members. But certainly social media provides the opportunity for that daily touch point. And the other advice that I give clubs is your members are online, and they're connecting and communicating with people and businesses and brands that matter to them on a daily basis. So we need to really adapt the method of communication and the style of communication and adapt to how our members are communicating. So they live on social media on a daily basis. We need to go where they live. We need to adapt to their style of communication. And it's really, social media provides that opportunity. We need to take advantage of that opportunity to connect and communicate with our members, the community, and the public at large in a space where people are on a regular daily basis. So that's a little bit of the why. It's really an opportunity for us to be better connected with our members and to keep them connected to the club, connected to each other, and kind of always have the club kind of top of mind, where they're always thinking, oh, hey, this is a great thing happening at the club. I wish I was there. And where they can kind of feel like they're participating virtually from their Facebook or Twitter or Instagram accounts. So it's kind of a necessity. It's really, if a club is not taking advantage of social media, they're really missing out in terms of retention, in terms of effective member communication.
What makes social media and the use of social media such a different means of communication that really is so effective in today's world?
Well, it's really that instant, it's that instant touch point. It's, social media has kind of taken over the way that we communicate. It's actually, according to Pew Research Institute, we spend more time on social media than any other internet activity, including email, which, when you think about it, because I saw that one fact and I thought, really? Do we really? Because I feel like I spend a lot of time on email. But when you look at your email, it's mostly business. You don't really email your friends anymore. You don't email your family members unless you're trying to share documents or something that's a little bit more important or non-public consumption kind of information. But really, when you think about it, how are we connecting with our friends and family? We're connecting through social media. And so the club kind of needs to adopt that attitude of, okay, well, we really want to connect with our members. And so that's where they are on a daily basis. We need to go to social media too. So social media really provides that sense of community, and it's, a place. I don't know if that's the case with you too. I mean, I connect with most of my friends through Facebook or
Sure.
even through Messenger. Texting, sure, but even tweeting at each other or, private messaging on Twitter or, whatever. So it's really something that's just become a way of life. And for some reason, well, for lots of reasons, we can certainly get into those too. But for, private clubs kind of tend to be a little bit behind the curve in what's happening in the communication space and utilizing these communication tools. So,
well, that kind of leads into my next question, which is, I hear the complaint from clubs, and I'm sure you have as well, that, they say we're a private club and we don't want to put our message out there for the world to see. What would you say to that, being a point of contention with some members?
Sure. And I hear that all the time. Every time I give a speech or, even in the webinars, what about privacy? And not to be a little attitude, but kind of, what about privacy? So we determine what we're sharing online. And that's the thing that clubs need to understand. Your club is pretty much already online because your members are sharing their experiences, their dining experiences, what's out on the golf course, a good day on the tennis courts. They're sharing, taking pictures, videos, and that kind of thing, and sharing their experiences that they have at the club on their social media channels. So your club is already online, and we have the opportunity to drive that conversation and to manage our reputation by joining the conversation and participating, responding, reacting, sharing, commenting. But I think when clubs ask, well, what about privacy? There's really a few different questions in, kind of connected in there. Do you not want to reveal who your members are? Do you have a certain history that you don't want people to know about? What are you concerned about when you say that you don't want your club to be online? What kind of exposure are you worried about? At the same time, by participating in social media, clubs, again, have that opportunity to drive the conversation. We can tell the world what we want about our club. We don't have to share pictures of our members. We don't have to share the detailed list of member benefits. We can share our club culture. We can share photos of our great food or recipes or articles related to golf or tennis. I mean, there's a plethora of content and topics that we can share that are relatable for our members. That's good conversation to have with our members, but that doesn't even get near the breach of privacy or, breaching exclusivity and making it feel like this isn't a private club. And the other point that I've raised in that question is, I think we have a bit of a fear that we're going to establish, the Happy Valley Country Club establishes its Facebook page, and then all of a sudden thousands of people from all over the world are going to come and like the Facebook page and participate in the conversation when they have nothing to do with the club.
Sure.
And as you and I know, it's difficult enough to actually get the members to go to the Facebook page and like the Facebook page and get that whole process started and get the train leaving the station and chugging along and
Sure.
and active and interactive. So, we really have, I think, kind of some of these unnecessary fears of that privacy element. Yes, we're a private club, but we still need to communicate with our members. And we are not necessarily breaching any sort of exclusivity simply because we're sharing information with our members in a public communication space.
Perfect. So the next question I have for you is, what sort of social networks, there's so many of them out there. There's ones popping up every day now. What are the social networks that you steer clubs to start using? Where do they get their most bang for their buck?
I think it's Facebook, and that's just because of the sheer amount of people who are on Facebook. Certainly, I'm seeing clubs using Twitter, but I see clubs connecting their Facebook to their Twitter, and so they're not really managing their Twitter accounts, and I don't see as much engagement levels with tweets as I'm seeing on Facebook. I would say Facebook would be the number one. I would say the number two would be Instagram, because that whole kind of concept of the visual elements of Instagram and the short, 60-second videos really fits into our club very well. Obviously, we have beautiful clubs. We have great dining. We have, beautiful scenery and just, gorgeous. So Instagram plays really well into our visual components of our communication. So I'd say Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, and then especially for catering and private events, Pinterest is a platform that is very underutilized, but has so much potential to really boost, especially your wedding business and wedding bookings. So I would say the big four. Snapchat is has been kind of coming to the forefront, obviously, and businesses are starting to really utilize Snapchat, but private clubs haven't even gotten on Facebook. So I think we can kind of put that a little bit to the side. And, I'd rather see clubs do like one channel, like a Facebook, very, very well, and then start to add secondary channels. But I think it would be easy for most clubs to be able to manage a Facebook page and then establish an Instagram account where you're posting 1 or 2 photos a day.
I think that's great advice. So many times people try to, try out the new shiny toy anytime something new comes along, and it's better to be really, really good at one thing. I think the phrase that most people use is an inch wide and a mile deep or whatever, rather than being the opposite.
Right.
So
okay.
Let's talk about actually the type of messaging or the type of communications that clubs should be putting out into their social media. If I'm a club just sort of starting out with social media, what direction would you lead me in?
Well, it depends on a few things. It depends on if you're a corporate owned club or if you're a 501c7 club. Certain restrictions, apply. Obviously, I want to definitely caution too. I think sometimes it's the 501c7 clubs that tend to ask, "What about privacy?" Because there's a limitation to advertising, and social media is definitely not an advertising channel. It's a conversation channel. So my advice is that there's tapping into resources that already exist on social media. So for example, if you're a golf club, you're going to want to tap into Golf Digest, the Golf Channel, PGA, LPGA, and look at what some of those organizations are sharing on their channels. If you have golf plus you have fine dining, then you're going to want to add Food and Wine Magazine, Bon Appetit, those kinds of things that you can pull plenty of articles, news, and information and share that with your members that have, again, that's sharing articles, advice, information. Golf Channel, for example, even Golf Digest share golf tips, short videos of instructional videos. But even in your club, you have an opportunity to position yourself as an expert in certain areas. So, chef doing short videos of, hey, here's some kitchen skills, or here's the seasonal ingredient of the month, or, little things like that, the behind the scenes kind of stuff that members really like. And then, kind of just getting started too, there's some native organic kind of hashtags that happen on a daily basis, which can help structure your communication. So for example, Member Monday or Meet Me Monday, Motivation Monday, that kind of a thing. Foodie Friday, kind of, built for private clubs. Tea Time Tuesday, little hashtags that happen on a daily basis that can help structure our topics for the day. Is kind of a good way to kind of get your feet wet into social media if you're not sure what to post or how to post. Looking at those hashtags that happen on a daily basis are a good way to start to shape the conversations that you're going to have with your members. And then, I always caution clubs to definitely pepper in the event announcements, but you don't want your social media to turn into, just like you don't want it to turn into advertising, you don't want it to turn into an announcement channel about your events. So I see clubs get online, they're all excited, they get online, and then it's RSVP, don't forget, join us. There's still time to make your reservation. And that's all they're posting.
Right, exactly. So there needs to be a good mix. Absolutely.
Right. So there's really, and truthfully, I've just did a webinar on 5 social media topics for private clubs, which is, the hashtags, news and information, tutorials, behind the scenes, instructional videos, retweeting or reposting articles from your trusted resources, sharing your expertise. But when you can make it about the members, I think that's the most important thing, is that, is the content that you're sharing relevant to your members? Is it beneficial to them? And will it positively impact them? We want to make sure that we're adding value to the timeline, not adding noise. And that's a really important point, because you have to remember that your members are most often accessing social media via their mobile devices, their cell phones and their tablets. And they're doing that scrolling through their timeline, scrolling through their news feed. And we want our content to stand out. It's definitely, they're more likely to look at the club's content than they are, the ABC business or, a certain brand, because obviously they're a member of the club. They care about the club.
Right.
They have that belonging to the club, but we still want to make our content stand out and make it as relevant as possible to the members. So going back to that initial question, why, always kind of having that in the background. Why are we posting this? What do we want our members to do with this content and information? So, that's where you had, what kinds of things can clubs post on social media as they're just getting started? Really kind of go back to that question of why. Okay, why are we using social media? What do we want to share with our members? And how is this relevant for them?
That's fantastic advice, Shanna. I really like that. Now, the other kind of fear I think that a lot of people have is that they're going to have to log in every day to all these different social networks and actually post a message. And then maybe they're going to have to do it on Twitter a few times a day, where that gets pretty cumbersome. But tell us a little bit about scheduling some of these messages. And then why is it so important to keep a communications calendar and a content plan?
Well, certainly for organization's sake and for time management, it can seem cumbersome. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to establish a Facebook account, an Instagram account, and a Twitter account, and who's going to do all this? Right. So let's start first of all with who's responsible for member communication. So everyone is responsible for member communication. All departments have a message that they need to share with their members. So all departments have information that's valuable and beneficial for members, that keep members connected to the club and keep members interested in what's happening in their department. So with that, I would identify one or two people in your club who are kind of the funnel or the gatekeeper for the content. So creating a communication calendar is something where everyone in your executive team understands this is what we're communicating on a monthly basis, our newsletter, website updates, that kind of a thing. Monthly, weekly, what are we doing on a weekly basis? When we send out an email to all members, is that something that's scheduled and coordinated? Do they always receive an email on Tuesday? Do we not know when they're receiving emails? Or are we just kind of everyone's sending emails to all members anytime they want? That's not a good plan. So creating the consistency in your calendar to understand what are you posting monthly or sharing monthly, what are you sharing weekly, and then your social media content is the daily content. So having that calendar so that your executive team understands this is when and how we communicate with our members on a monthly, weekly, daily basis. This is the type of content that we're sharing. This is what you're going to contribute to that plan. And then the funnel or the gatekeeper person is the person who's responsible for scheduling those things into the appropriate channels. And, good news is that there are scheduling tools out there that make our life a whole lot easier. Hootsuite is a great one. But even if you don't want to do a Hootsuite, Facebook has its own scheduling tool right in the platform. So when you go to your page and you wanted to create a post, you can schedule that post. So you can schedule all of your posts right within Facebook. Even on Twitter, there's TweetDeck, which is the Twitter platform scheduling tool. So you can use TweetDeck. Instagram, a little bit more difficult to schedule. But again, you don't want to be posting 10 photos a day anyway. 1 or 2 photos a day is fine. So that shouldn't be too cumbersome, but at the same time, you want to plan ahead. Okay, today we're going to post, this morning we're going to post the lunch special, and then tonight at the ABC event, we're going to post a picture from the party. Have a plan as to what content is going to be posted on what channel at what time and who's responsible for that content. It makes everyone's life a whole lot easier and your member communication so much more effective.
I bet. I like the idea of the gatekeeper, because I think clubs and other brands in general can kind of get into some muddy waters when they have too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen, you'd say, sort of, voicing what they want over social media. Really, a club or any brand needs a unified voice. And so your gatekeeper idea is great because it really gives the club a unified message and a unified voice.
Absolutely. And, you never know who that gatekeeper might be. It might be a surprise. It could be the receptionist, or it could be the food and beverage manager. You wouldn't think, oh, wow, they're really savvy at communication. But you really want to have a person who, one, understands how social media works, but you also want to have them understand strategic communication on some level, as well as have that conversational tone with your members, you're exactly right, creating the right tone and that singular voice that really captures the personality of the club. But you definitely want to find that whether it be your communication manager, your member relations director, your admin assistant, somebody that is pretty savvy online and understands how to do everything and really gets that strategic component of the club's communication.
Beautiful. And I just asked my assistant while we were chatting there, we use an Instagram scheduling tool, and I was just going to give the listeners what that is. It's Whizzle IT. So it's a crazy
the names
term,
that they come up with.
It's
right?
spelled WISEL.IT, and that's a way you can actually schedule your Instagram posts. Like you mentioned, Shanna, it's kind of a little clunky. It's not like it's not the smoothest thing in the world, but it does work. So if you want to do some scheduling, you can use that tool as well.
Yeah, because I know like with Hootsuite, you can pseudo schedule in Hootsuite, but it's really just sends you a reminder to post the picture. So it's not 100% scheduling your
right.
Instagram post.
I think this one lets you schedule it, but the caveat is if you need to go back and change it, like if you decide, oh, okay, I posted the wrong thing or the price is going to change, it kind of gets to be a little bit cumbersome. But this tool does let you schedule it on Instagram, which is kind of cool. We searched and searched for a tool that could do it. There's not many out there.
Yeah. That's very true. And I think it could be a bit of the spirit of the platform where it is a little bit more of a spontaneous posting platform versus, Twitter or Facebook. Sure. Scheduling things are perfectly acceptable.
Well, that's a good thing you mentioned that. So can you walk us through the differences between like what kind of content you should be posting on Facebook versus what you should be posting on Twitter? I know you alluded to it a little bit, but can you dive a little deeper for folks?
Sure. Well, let's just stick with Instagram for a second. So, Instagram is that visual platform. And what I would do is I would look at some brands on Instagram. So, for example, for food and beverage inspiration, look at Food and Wine Magazine and Bon Appetit Magazine's Instagram feeds because they post just gorgeous photos of food. And it's not that you have to have, professional quality photos of your food, but just the way that they stage their food is going to help your Instagram photos kind of be a little bit higher quality. Look at the Hilton hotels. Look at Marriott hotels. Look at some of the hospitality industry and how they are posting some of their Instagram photos. So it's really, that rich visual experience, and you can really create almost a branding experience with the club. Magazine quality type stuff if you look over all of the photos that the club is posting, and definitely kind of determine what is our personality going to be on Instagram. Are we like super luxury? Are we family friendly? Like what's kind of our voice on Instagram? And all of the photos and videos that you share then on Instagram should kind of fit into that personality that you're trying to create on Instagram. So photos and 60-second videos. They went from 15 to 60-second maximum
I didn't know that.
Videos on Instagram. Yeah, so it's kind of great because those little tutorials or behind the scenes advice or
golf shot tips or swing tips
exactly,
or something. Yeah,
really, cool. 60 seconds is a lot of time actually. But you can fit a lot of advice into 60 seconds. So that's Instagram. On Twitter, what you want to make sure is that you are sharing digestible bits of information. And definitely with Twitter, you want to make sure that you're including photos. I see so many clubs that hey, we've got this great thing happening at the club right now, and there's no photo.
Right.
So it's 140 characters. The good news about Twitter is that they are going to be eliminating the links that you're sharing and the photo links. They will not use those as the 140 character count. So you will soon, it's in the next couple of weeks, they've all of the news channels have been saying, is that you will have a pure 140 character tweet that links and photos will not be included in that 140 characters. So that's a huge update from Twitter. Everyone's kind of been clamoring for that for a while.
Right.
So that will be a nice gives you a true 140 characters. 140 characters, though, is really it's going to improve your writing skills.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. You really need to get that message across in a creative, succinct, here's the message, here's the point. So, if you've got a call to action, make sure that it's super clear, that it's not muddled in the 140 characters. So short, digestible bits of information, updates, news, sharing articles, and definitely hashtags. And to go back really quickly to Instagram, you can certainly share more hashtags on Instagram than you can share on other channels.
Yeah, people will just load up those posts with 20 or 30 of them.
Right?
It doesn't hurt you. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt you. So on Twitter, obviously you don't have the space for 20 hashtags. And certainly the more hashtags you have in your tweet, the less effective it is. So
just in case people don't know what a hashtag is, can you sort of explain what that is for folks too?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's, you and I are probably like hashtags. And everyone's like, what the heck is a hashtag? It is really kind of a topic marker. So it kind of, if you're talking about the Foodie Friday, for example, if you have a post that you're posting on Friday and it's about food, you'd want to use the hashtag Foodie Friday because that's a popular hashtag that lots of people use. Hashtags are also searchable. So if you were to click the hashtag Foodie Friday, it would pull up posts of everybody else using Foodie Friday. And that would be helpful. So for example, on Twitter, if you search the hashtag Foodie Friday, you can also hit the little advanced search and look at just the people that you follow that are using the Foodie Friday hashtag. So that's really helpful in finding content and having people, potentially discover the content that you're putting out there. So hashtags are topic markers. Instagram, go nuts. On Twitter, 1, maybe 2, but 1 is enough. And then on Facebook, I've been reading articles that hashtags are not as effective on Facebook as they are on Twitter and Instagram. Certainly, you can still use them, but I would also limit the number of hashtags on Facebook.
Yeah, they don't even work. I don't. Right. From my experience, at least. And I'm not following any on there either.
Right. And that's just kind of the language of Facebook. It's kind of speaks a little bit different language. Obviously, we have an opportunity to do a little bit longer status update and put a little more text and conversation in there. We can add, a photo album. We can add a video. We can upload video directly. So, Facebook is almost like a mini website in a sense where it's almost you can almost treat it like a mini blog, if you will.
Sure. And I like even some user-generated content, meaning having your members write testimonials and putting that right into the Facebook page and that sort of thing. I think that really adds to the richness of what Facebook can do. Absolutely.
And again, you can have longer conversations on Facebook than you can on the other channels, but that's definitely where your higher interaction can occur is on a channel like Facebook versus Twitter and Instagram, where it's, a like, a comment, a, thumbs up.
Sure.
So
how about some of these new live streaming platforms? I mean, Facebook just released Facebook Live a couple months back, opened it up at least to more people. There's Periscope out there, Blab. There's some of these other live streaming platforms. Do you see that as something that clubs need to get on board with now? Or is it just, again, that shiny new thing? What, in your opinion, how would you steer clubs?
Sure. I've actually seen, and I wish I could remember the name of this club right now. But there was one club that was having a farmer's market, and they decided to do Facebook Live and kind of walk around their farmer's market. And unfortunately, it was raining, but they were really good. Everybody was in good spirits, and they, whoever it was, their communication manager or whoever it was, just walked around the farmer's market, said hello, people waved. And it was just kind of a nice way to be at the club without actually being at the club for those who couldn't join in the farmer's market. I think that there's some real potential there. I would say, I know with Periscope, they are working on saving the Periscopes because they haven't been automatically saved. So that's one element that I think Facebook Live has a bit of an advantage, is that it's included as a post right after you're done with the video.
Yep.
So I think it's really fun. I think if you have huge events, big member traditions that maybe, a charity classic or some sort of philanthropic event that is more community oriented, where maybe, members of the public are welcome. or just kind of showing off a big golf tournament or, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think it's a great way to utilize the features within that platform, especially Facebook Live, because then you get people commenting or wish I was there or, oh, that's awesome, I'll be there in an hour.
Sure.
It just, it kind of helps, that visual element really helps tell the story. So
absolutely. So how do folks learn more about your story, Shanna? How do people reach out or attend one of your seminars or workshops?
Well, thank you for asking, Gabe. The best thing to do is go to privateclubsonline.com. There are 2 tabs on the menu that you should look at. One is called webinars. I do a monthly webinar on the first Wednesday of the month at noon Pacific, and it's complimentary. So how great is that? Every month you can join in. I've got some regulars that are coming. I've got, of course, new people that pop in all of the time.
Cool.
But on the webinars tab, you'll see the upcoming webinars that you can register for. And you can also see a short list of past webinars that are replays. So, for example, 5 social media topics for private clubs is still up. So you can listen in on that webinar replay. And then the other tab that I would suggest people look at is the coaching tab, because I have launched group coaching programs, which are all done online. The Essential program is for clubs who are just getting started and need a little bit more attention and advice. And the Dynamic coaching program is for clubs who are already online, but maybe want to look at other aspects of their member communication and kind of look at their email and their website and their social media and kind of everything combined. So a little bit more of an intermediate group. But I'm enrolling clubs this month, and enrollment closes on June 3rd, and we kick off on June 7th. So I'm really excited for the coaching programs, and certainly on privateclubsonline.com, you have tons of resources there. I include blog posts and videos and all sorts of fun information for you to peruse and enjoy. So
it's definitely good stuff. I enjoyed your webinar on the 5 social media topics for clubs. I thought that was great. So definitely encourage folks to check out Private Clubs Online. Last question, Shanna. It's the bucket list. If there's one club people need to see before they die for you, what club is that?
Well, I have to, as a former Club Corp person, I have to say Pinehurst. I did not get a chance to go to Pinehurst when I worked for City Club Los Angeles, and I think that's the kind of the diamond, property, the one that everyone, Pinehurst. So
Sure.
Just for its history and beauty and just kind of, as a part of the Club Court family, that's the one that I would say that I would love to go to Pinehurst at some point in my life.
Very good answer. Very good answer. I would like to go there myself. It's definitely on my list. So.
I can't believe you haven't been, Gabe. Come on.
Hey, Shanna, thank you so much for lending us your expertise today and joining us on Private Club Radio. You were awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here. Thanks so much.
Lots of great advice from Shanna right there. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and good luck with your social media efforts. Join us back here next week. We have a guest, a club manager who managed to save $160,000 in his operational expenses. And what did he do? He picked up a phone and he wrote a few emails, and he saved himself $160,000. What were in those emails? What did he say on the phone call? That's the story we're going to tell you next week on Private Club Radio. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to the show simply by going to privateclubradio.com/subscribe. And there's some directions on there that you can follow, 5 or 6 steps to get you online, getting this program right to your mobile device every single Monday. And lastly, don't forget to vote for the show topic you want to hear on a future episode of Private Club Radio. You can do that at privateclubradio.com/vote. Until next week, here's to your membership success.
Just because this round is over doesn't mean you can't enjoy the 19th hole. Check out privateclubradio.com for more. Private Club Radio is brought to you by Shake Creative, the premier marketing and design firm, helping prestigious clubs increase and retain their membership. Visit shaketampa.com to learn more.